Is AI going to completely crash the music industry? That is what we're going to talk about today. What is going to happen to the music industry as AI becomes better and better? We're going to try and unpack that. We're also going to do another experiment that I really look forward to doing, and that is to see, am I able to create a decent pop song with vocals in maybe 15 minutes with an AI tool, and using 30, 40 more minutes, could I even create the music video for the music? I'm really looking forward to seeing the results. Let's talk a little bit about what actually happened to the music industry. So the music industry topped in 1999 actually. And if you're older than 40 years today, you can probably remember that then services like Napster came along, more or less stealing music and making it available for free. The rest is history. Then we got the paid streaming services. Many composers and smaller artists were really upset, saying, that is, even though it's a paid service and they're paying some royalties, they're so small. So it was actually just like stealing, right?
What the hell? Only $2?
But where are we today? The music industry is kind of back. There are now new revenue streams. For example, streaming has become a major revenue stream as well. But there have been clear winners and losers here. And let's just try to have a look at that. Also, if we look at recorded music, it has definitely been a loser.
Why do my royalties keep getting smaller?
One of the big winners are obviously the streaming platforms. If you look at valuations of, for example, Spotify, they are worth much more today than for example, Universal Music or Warner. So they are a clear winner. If you look at some of the major superstars, they are also winners, the ones who are performing live, let's say the Taylor Swifts of the world. Looking at the big losers here, it would be composers, songwriters. They have definitely been losing out, transitioning from CDs to streaming. Also, kind of smaller indie bands. From a royalty perspective, they're losing out. Where they are winning is that anybody can release their own album today. There are no gatekeepers in the way that if you want to sit down as an indie band, record an album, you don't need an expensive studio to do it, and you can distribute it and release it yourself, and you can make a YouTube video with more or less no budget. Would you say the consumers is a winner or a loser? I mean, let me know in the comments. I mean, definitely people who used to buy a lot of albums on CD or even vinyl, they can save a lot of money today. You more or less have access to all the music you want for a subscription that is less than the price of a CD you bought in year 2000, especially if you adjust for inflation. So in that way, the consumer is way better off. They are then shifting their spend to live concerts instead. So, I mean, if you just look at the numbers, you could definitely say consumers are better off in terms of choice. I think the big winners, if you actually look at it from a financial point of view, would be the big stars. Like, look at this comparison here between Madonna and Taylor Swift. I mean, the amount of money Taylor Swift would be making on a tour compared to what Madonna did back in the day. Looking at their net worth, I mean, Madonna has had so much more time to have her net worth grow compared to Taylor Swift, yet Taylor Swift has over doubled the amount of net worth that Madonna has. So definitely you could say the superstars are the clear winners and everybody who can profit from live performance. So let's talk about the AI impact. Let's just have a quick look at my journey to create a cool pop track here. Basically, I just asked ChatGPT what would be the best platform. I don't want to create a lot of material. I just want to create 1 or 2 strong tracks for a YouTube video. You can see the sign-up process is really quick. There's even a free trial, so I don't have to pay. Otherwise, I would have to pay $10 a month. So it's going really quickly, and we'll have a look later in the video if I'm actually successful without any experience in my quest to make a cool pop song. But let's get back to what's going to happen to these stakeholders as AI become better and better. Who will be the winners and who will be the losers? So, I mean, I know there are a lot of lawsuits right now and so on. We don't know exactly where they are going to land. But I think no matter what, the AI music platforms, they're going to be big winners. They're going to attract a lot of subscribers. They're going to attract a lot of funding. So there'll be money in it for them and their owners. I think if you look at the major artists, the impact is not going to be that big. If you are a Taylor Swift, people will still go to your concerts, buy your merchandise, so on. So the big record labels, more or less, I think they'll be fine. Again, because they're mostly reliant on the big stars. Then I think the streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and so on, depending on where they land on this, they actually have the opportunity to pay writers and copyright holders even less, as they could add AI music, their own AI music, to their repertoire, and that way keep 100% of the royalties.
Now I can keep all the royalties.
I don't know if they're going to go that way. They could exploit it. We can also maybe see streaming platforms that undercut the traditional streaming platforms with mainly AI music. I think traditional music libraries, some music used for like broadcast, advertising, and so on, I think they will be more or less fine, because I think the traditional broadcasters and like the bigger advertising companies, kind of the high end of it, they will continue to use real music, mainly because of copyright issues with AI music. I think the really big loser here in terms of the companies will be the cheaper background music. Actually, like the big stars like Epidemic and Artlist, who have done so well because of YouTube, I think they will be impacted a lot. They will face a lot of competition from AI music, where content creators find it really interesting to create their own music instead and use that. So I actually think they will be pretty big losers. But let's see. Maybe they'll try to go the AI route themselves, but I see them being very challenged here. So on a more personal level, like who's going to win and who's going to lose? Obviously, in the beginning, the prompt engineers or AI creators, the one who really has a skill to create something unique, and the front runners there, I think they will create. Also, the ones who are willing to make just like mass-produced music they just put out into the streaming services, they will probably also win. I don't think they'll be like huge stars financially, but I think definitely they'll be able to make money. Traditional producers, well, they will lose, as AI music will take part of the market. Session musicians, they will just take another knock, because I think we'll also see a lot of hybrid music where somebody is still singing. You still have the artist, maybe you still have a composer, but you cut costs where you can, which means that the session musicians will take another hit. Sometimes I think maybe the composer will take a hit, because maybe it's the AI doing the composing or the songwriting, so they will definitely take hits. See the platforms being simply swamped with AI music in all genres, and that will just take some of the royalties there. So I think it will be even more difficult as a small indie artist.
Another 25% drop. I can't pay my bills.
The big question mark we have right now is about copyright, and who is going to try to protect the composers. Because like without protection, it seems we are only seeing this going one way for composers and many publishers. That is that they will lose money. So again, we probably see more regulations coming from the EU. In the US, they have made some rules that you can't claim copyright to something made by AI. But then there'll be a major gray area, because then you'll say, yeah, I made it with AI, but then I added this human element, and suddenly you can copyright it. So I think that will be very, very difficult to control. Surprisingly, in China, for example, they have pretty tough rules on AI music in many instances, especially on the training. What will happen in the longer term here? So talking about, 2030, right? What we'll see there is just an amplification in many ways. I think live will continue to grow. You will get a market where more and more people are trying to compose, trying to take a little bit of the pie, which will make it more difficult for composers who want to live from composing and making music.
What about 2040?
Then I think something interesting could happen, and that is the live element could be challenged. When we have virtual reality at a level where it is, well, just as good or maybe a different experience than being at a concert, I think some people might dive into that as well, and that could steal some of the revenue. It's obviously more speculative. So it will be very interesting to see. But what will then happen? I mean, there will still be like an elite, I think, of top writers who will write for the big stars, that they will continue to be fine, but those are very, very few people. There will be the people making film music at the highest level, where there are budgets, they will be fine. And again, it's very, very few people, right? So what will happen to the rest? Well, I think if you imagine that automation actually steals a lot of jobs, content creation, the meaning economy, YouTube, and so on, a lot of people will kind of flock towards that area. And I think a lot of people will go into music as well as content creation. So I think there will be too many people to kind of split the music pie here. It will be a challenge for the professional musicians and composers. So if we see what happened from 1990, for example, if you were just a composer composing, like maybe not for the biggest names, but for indie bands, and you were, let's say, a musician who did like studio session recordings, you could be fine. If you were just like pretty good at your craft, you would earn good money, right? Fast forward to 2020, these people, they have to rely on many different revenue streams. Some try to teach kids how to play the instrument. The composers, they went into production music. They went into doing music for advertising, for example. They, made albums for streaming and all sorts of things to kind of make a living from their music. So instead of having one revenue stream, maybe they had 8 different ones. And I think that will be amplified. I think since the pie will not grow as much as the number of people who will be eating the pie, I think we'll see the professionals really tapping into more and more revenue streams to try and make a living. I think it might be really, really tough. And I mean, what you will see more of, like, paid fan pages. You will see more like YouTube premium content. You will see even more like streaming for pennies. But here, I think the personal brand becomes really important, right? If you have a personality where people want to follow you and listen to your videos, where you do guitar lessons or you teach composing or something like that, I mean, there could be a ton of money in that. The big challenge is, it's not the same being a really great musician as coming across as a really interesting people to follow on YouTube, teaching kids or young people how to play the guitar. It's two completely different things.
How does this even work?
So one of my fears would be that some of these true professionals, they are going to struggle. So let's go back and let's have a look now at how I'm doing inside Udio here. So to be honest, I don't know exactly what I want to create. So I'm just going into ChatGPT here, doing a basic prompt, saying I want to do some pop music in the style of, the top 5 female artists. And it doesn't really need more than that. I copy paste the prompt, as you can see here, and let's have a listen to the result.
Neon dreams and open skies, living for the moment, got my heart on fire.
Yeah, okay. I don't love it. It's like very superficial pop music, but on the other hand, maybe I gave it a superficial prompt. So let me just go back into ChatGPT here and let me try and put some other words on it. I wanted to be a little bit deeper, more soulful, a little bit more artistic. And again, all I'm doing here, I'm just taking the prompt from ChatGPT. ChatGPT here actually chooses to name artists. I know that's going to be a problem, but let's just try and copy paste it into Udio and see what happens here. And we can actually see here in the process that Udio, it is accepting these names, but they're also telling me they're filtering it out in the prompt and basically replacing them with descriptions of that genre. And let's have a listen to what we're getting out of it.
In the night, I find your face, a memory stuck in place.
Okay, so I think I like that better. It's not great yet, right? But I'm not really putting an effort into it at this point. I think we have a decent song here. So let's just continue the process. Let's see, can I make like a short music video here? I'll not bore you with the whole process, but going into Nano Banana, trying to create an artist, trying to do some videos, mainly using VEO3 from Google, to kind of see if we can just create a decent experience. Let's try to have a look at the results here.
In the night, I find your face, a memory stuck in place. Echoes of the words you said, they later on take your head. Through the storms, we with the pain. Yeah, he stand love with the rain. With his joke, I'll see a ladder in his hands. There's nowhere to hide. Whisper to me secret shared. In this moment, I know you care. Listen to it, you know okay. You want to roll on your stage. Where dreams collide, I feel.
But that's not how it was supposed to happen.
Echo love never fades. With every heartbeat, with these chains. Hold me close through the troubling night. You're my compass, guiding me right. With every beat, we rise anew. In the symphony, it's being you.
So, okay, what do you think? I don't think I'm creating art here, but the time investment is from a total novice. I'm only using prompts given to me by ChatGPT or Gemini. And I think I don't know if I would call the result decent, but I think what you can tell from this is anyone putting a little bit more effort into this could make something quite interesting. It's not, I think, a question of quality. I think it's more a question of opinion, a question of morals. Like, should we protect the copyright holders, the writers? These tools wouldn't even exist today without the copyright holders and the writers. So I think it's a difficult one, how we move forward from this. I think, music will be there. There will be composers, there will be artists, but a lot of people are going to be challenged by this technology. So let me know in the comments, what do you think we should do? What is the right way forward?